And we are back. Dazbok.
It's good to have you back. You've had a nap.
I had a bit of a nap. Yeah, I
had to deal with Hamo and his usage of OBS causing the crash.
Breaking the stream. I'm gone for, what, 20 minutes? And he breaks it all. So.
And speaking of breaking the stream...
Speaking of breaking the stream, can we...
We've got the players who chose not to use the pick ban system on the website. And they've done it the old gentleman's agreement, talking to each other way. And we're just going to be... We're just going to be getting straight into the game. We don't know what maps we've got. We don't know what champs we've got. We're going to be learning it all at the same time as you guys.
So it's going to be interesting. But hey, let's see what we've got for these from these guys, because I think it's safe to say, right, the top two players are.
This is the match everyone's interested in.
We're just getting the stream put back up on the main screen. Don't worry, you will see what's going on momentarily. We haven't forgotten about you.
But yeah, so these two players, what are we looking at stats wise from them? They're the ones with the biggest targets on them. They're the ones that everyone wants to beat, including each other.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, go for it. Yeah, tell us about this, Dazbok. What do you think here?
Well, it's one of those things where it's two very even players who are both at the top of the game at the moment. Kama and Dan. Kama's known for his rockets and the rocket tutorials that we see from him on Discord all the time. And Dan, it's just the constant, solid, incredibly good gameplay from him. And we're just getting some stuff in the studio fixed up here. But yeah, Kama with the rockets, and both players, like, there's not really too much to look at in terms of previous accomplishments in the Australian Quake scene from Kama specifically, because he has only played a few here and there, but every time he's played, it's always been at a high level.
Exactly, and Kama and like both these players here, right? These are two of the most well-decorated players, right, in Australian Quake. They've played overseas. You know, they've played against some of the top names in the Quake scene. They've
played Quake-ons, they've played other high-level competitions, and now they're here. And this is a rematch from the grand final of Split 3.
Correct. Yes, it was. Yeah, where Cam did take the victory in that split. But what are you thinking today? Do you think Cam can do it again? Do you reckon he can take Dan down the groups here? So I believe this will mean that if Cam wins this, I believe he will be undefeated through the groups. Put him in a clear top position.
I honestly think Cam's... part of me wants to say that Cam's going to win this, purely because we know from previous LAN competitions that Dan doesn't take the group stages as seriously. He's willing to come in and absolutely dominate on the days when it matters more, with the double elim that we're going to be seeing tomorrow. But yeah, right now, right in the here and now, he might want to prove something. I wonder if there's maybe the little gremlin sitting on his shoulder saying, "Hey, you remember what happened a month ago?"
Do you think he might want a bit of revenge there, maybe?
Not a little bit of revenge, but more of a, come on, you going to prove it? I mean, I think we all remember that moment from KawachiCon back in 2022 where Dan was taking on Zeneku and running into the booth there, and the yell of "I'm still the best Quake player in Australia," doing a bit of language filtering for our international viewers there.
Good, thank you very much, yes.
But you've got Kama now, and Kama's on fire.
Kama has shown that, right, he can clearly take it to Dan, right? Like, because before that, right, you had sort of like Dan was a clear number one in all these tourneys, and then Knight was, he was always getting real close to Dan, but it was usually sort of a 1-2, and then Knight did manage to take the win there in one AQL, but, it was always really close, right?
Yeah.
But it's good to have that little bit of extra, a little bit of extra competition here, and Kama's proven himself time and time again, right?
And the other thing that we've got to look at is Dan was going to have the hat trick of split wins. He was going to be coming first in Div 1 split 1, split 2. We thought it was going to happen split 3, and then Kama happened.
Yeah, exactly.
And, I mean, a month's not that long of a time. Was it that we were seeing Dan a little bit of a slump in split 3, or...
Look, I think definitely Dan's one of those players where he's happy to just have, a bit of fun as well, right, when he plays, where I think Cam's going to definitely, Cam's one of those players you can tell when you get in a server with him, he's there to win, right? There's nothing else to it, right? He wants to play to win.
It's Quake, it's Duel, you're there to win.
Exactly right. Yeah, exactly. So I think, look, whether or not we saw a little bit of a difference between, but look, Dan, obviously, he's there to win, right? He wants to win too, especially when playing against Cam, right? They've played each other so many times over the history of, not just Quake champions, right?
And not just Quake champions, and not just the Kwachi Cups. You can take a look at the history of these two, how many times they've faced. But it is, again, that progression. There was always that clear divide of when Dan and Kama faced, Dan was going to win. But over the years and over the months, it's just been getting closer and closer and closer until split 3. I'm going to keep saying it. That was a bit of an upset result. And
so, but do you think we're going to see that again then? Do you think we're going to get the same result?
That's what I've been saying. I think we're going to see Kama winning tonight in group stages. I think if this was any of the finals tomorrow, we'd be having a bit of a different conversation. Okay. But in the groups tonight, I reckon we're probably going to see a 2-0.
You think a 2-0?
I reckon we're going to see a 2-0 Kama.
I'm just going to go against it just to be different here.
Okay.
I'm going to go a 2-1 for Dan.
So right? you agree with me, but you're just being a good host.
Potentially, yes. Cam he's looked bulletproof, right? When we've seen him throughout his games, he's just played so consistently. No matter what champ he's on, right? He's been looked really consistent, and I think he's just got the, he's got the champ pool, he's got the urgent for everything, and it allows us to he gets he gives us that vibe of confidence, right?
You got distracted by Hamo.
I did, yeah. Trying to listen to me, I know. I should just ignore him. He just breaks the stream when he comes along anyway.
You keep the keyboard away from him. But yeah, we're starting to see him getting into game here now. Dan is there and ready to go. I think we're going to see Kama moving across and into the game soon as well. We've got people still on the floor here playing Quake Champions. We've got some of the lower div upper bracket final matches already being played ahead of tomorrow because we have been ahead of schedule. Yeah. Even though we did have a later start today than expected. Just things have gone that good and the games have been that amazing that...
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did have, for anyone who's just joining in a little bit late, we've had a bit of a chaotic start, I think we'll call it.
A chaotic start.
But things have been going smoothly.
We could get into it, but we won't.
Exactly. We don't want to dwell on the past.
We can't delve on the past unless we're talking about the history of Dan and Kama.
Very good point.
Which we've already talked about a lot, and I feel like if I was to start talking about the past, we'd just be repeating things again and again and again. But yeah, hopefully we'll see Kama get into game soon, and we'll be able to find out what our first map's going to be. I'm guessing, based on what Dan's done here, that we're going to have Awoken as the first map.
Well, I was going to say...
I guess he's going to be on Visor. You guys can't see this. I'm just making a wild prediction.
Prediction, yeah. Definitely not what we're sitting at in lobby. But look, it wouldn't surprise me though, right? Like Dan, we've seen him so many times playing Visor is. There's a few champions, right? I would sort of put as 3 classics you'd see with Dan, right? Visor, Nyx, and Ranger.
Yeah,
right. Specifically on a few different maps, but
I'd also argue a bit of your bread and butter from the days of round-based duel as well.
Exactly right. Yeah, but I think that's going to be sort of the bread and butter thing. We'll see. Cam, I think it'll be interesting. I kind of hope he brings out IK. I know he's used to think the clutch was pretty good. I hope we're going to see maybe a little bit more of that.
Do you think he's going to risk that large hitbox, though, on LAN, is the question?
That's the thing. We haven't seen any. Have we seen a single heavy on stream
I don't think we've seen a single heavy on stream. I know in the lower divisions, the heavies have been used to great effect. Yes, they do take a ton of damage because that hitbox on LAN, with how smooth everything goes, it does make the heavies a bit more of a riskier pick.
Exactly, because we saw Salty pick a heavy on Vale, but we never got to see that map. So
no, we didn't. We also didn't get to see the DK. We're still, we've seen a Vale match finally. We haven't seen a DK match yet. I'm hoping. No, these two guys here, I don't think we're going to see a DK.
No,
again, people, sorry we can't show you the picks and bans. It's been done verbally, so no one except the two players who are now in-game, and I'm sure they're going to be starting soon, going to be... Cam is requesting the score limit increase. I think he's going to go for a 50.
I like that. I like that.
And hey, if you're just coming along here and you're going to be watching, feel free to jump in the audience and watch some high-level Quake.
So this is going to be the best of the best, I think.
Picks are Awoken. Dan on Visor, Cam on Ranger. Bread and Butter start there. Veil of Naf. Dan on Eisen, Cam on BJ. We're seeing two Nafs tonight at least. We're seeing two of them.
God.
I'm happy. The best map in Quake
I'm glad
Champions.
I got to cast one of them. So I'm glad. I was sitting there thinking, it's like, the time I jump off for one set, Veil up.
Everyone's heard what my least favourite maps in Quake Champions is. You're now hearing Veil is the best map in Quake Champions.
And that's the correct opinion.
It is the correct opinion. And finally, it's all going to be high octane, because if we get to the third map, that is going to be CK with an Anarchy versus Galena, and I highly rate that Galena pick for Cam. But I've predicted we're not getting there. I reckon Cam's going to do it in 2, as we're going into the first map on Awoken.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
I'm excited.
I think
you're barely awake.
No, now that I've seen what's going up, you know, I'm ready for this. I'm ready for it.
And this is the matchup that everyone's been waiting for. People have been waiting to see more Dan on stream, and people have been waiting to see Kama on stream. Yeah. Who are we going to start with?
Who do you want to see?
Let's start with Kama.
All right.
Let's get we've had Dan on stream before. We saw what he did with Knight. Let's see what Cam can make of him. And I'm just going to go like that.
Round begins in 3.
All right.
1.
Starting on Cam. Here we go.
Here we go. And it's a pretty standard start. He's going to have heard that he's missed out on the Mega Health. Dan's not going to go for the Heavy, though, which means that Cam potentially can get there and pick himself up a major item. We've got a 15-second delay on it, so both players are going to be happy about that. Dan's got the timing on it now. Dan's going in with the rockets. He is not letting Cam get even 2 seconds of time.
Yeah,
there.
just catching him out with that. Wrong weapon.
Wrong weapon, wrong time.
You miss that shot, and yeah, he's just going to push in aggression. You know, that's the name of Dan's game, right? Aggression, aggression, aggression. He loves pushing in. He loves getting those fights. And look, Visor's not necessarily the champion you'd expect to do that with, right? But that sight, a great shot here, damage from Cam, but
That's
that rail.
a great rail. What did we say earlier before we totally screwed Dan up by saying Dan doesn't miss? I don't think we've seen Dan really miss a crucial shot yet this map. And I know we're only a minute in.
He was just warming up the first set, right? That's
He's had a full day of maps between when we last saw him on stream and now. And here we come, the sight comes out. Cam is going to hear that as well. He knows Dan's close. The rockets get pumped in. They do no damage. The first rail hits, the second misses, and both players are going to break apart and recuperate. A little bit of shaft damage comes out from Dan there as he moves away to make sure he doesn't get the rocket splash, but Cam just pushes in. The LG is fantastic. He picks himself up his first frag of the map. But misses the follow-up rail. He's going to be looking to get a bit of a conversion happening here as he's going to push in with the aggression to Dan in that LG room. We've seen players hiding out there all day. And Cam's going to make sure that it doesn't happen. The rail hits, second rail hits, and now he's 2 up.
And none of that, look at that. Look how much stack he's got here. He's going to push him out through the TP as well. A third frag in such a quick succession. It's just making this look almost easy right at the moment. 3 frags. I
wouldn't say easy.
The stack that he's got, he's ready to take these fights too. That's the other thing. That's the scary thing too when you've got an opponent like this who's on 300 stack and now you're trying to hide here. And look at that perfect read.
Look at that rocket. That's amazing.
Just destroyed. Deleted.
As he says, lift your crosshair.
That's why you should listen to him. And again, the LG, so much damage. Just missed a single cell. Dan's trying to run back. The rail actually connecting Dan. Surviving.
Yeah, Dan must have picked up the Mega Health. The fact that he was able to take that rail. Cam missing 2 crucial rails. He'll be the first to tell you his rail is not that great, though, as 3 missed rails in a row. 4. That's got to be frustrating. Dan punishes the missed rails, getting in with the rocket launcher.
There's such a risky play going up because he was railable there, and it's like, you're on a bounce pad, so easy. And the rockets from Dan. He's returning them from Cam. Cam was making it look easy before, and Dan's showing that he can do that as well.
Dan's showing I may not have tutorial videos on how to shoot rockets, but I can shoot them just as good as you, buddy. But no, Dan, you said Dan was railable as he went up that jump pad before. Is he really railable if he knows Cam's not going to hit him with that rail?
Well, that's the thing, right? You have to play around how your opponent's playing, right? If your opponent is missing these shots, abuse it, you know, push in against them and then take the advantage, and that's what he did. And that game,
4-all.
again, back into a situation where he's back to 4-all, and this game is tied up 3 minutes in.
How much of a contrast is this to the Salty match that we saw before, where it was low scoring, low speed? We are 9 frags in, and we have only just broken the 3-minute mark. This is basically deathmatch at this point. Deathmatch with a little bit of control happening. And Dan eats the rail from Kama.
And that's the thing, right? It's like, you can have these frags because the combat goes so quick, and how quickly you get 2 frags here. So now Cam back in the lead, and with, you know, what, almost 4 minutes into this map.
No, I'm not calling it, mate. That's not happening.
Definitely not. No, this map is well and truly alive.
The shotgun comes out. This is what we were hearing them talk about earlier. Both players thinking at the same level. They both knew that was a shotgun play. Both went in with the shotgun play, but hey, you have orb, you're getting frag. Cam's now 4 frags up, and the rockets are coming.
5.
Make that 5. And Cam is just stringing these together, putting on a bit of a clinic here. Don't count Dan out yet, though.
Right now, though, Dan has got to be hiding in the back corners of this map, but this thing, Cam ready to punish with the missed rail, and Dan's actually going to get out without taking just the free armor for him. That's huge. That's huge for this situation. But he's got to be so careful because, the rocket barely missing, and the rail in return. Dan, railable here. The question is how's Cam going to approach this? He's going to try and push in, baiting with the jump pad, and Dan
all he did was take damage for that bait. Little bit of tri-bolt.
Yeah, Dan gets away with his life here, and Cam was not ready for him to be so close. Good amount of LG. Dan's actually going to try and push and take this fight, but the heavy's up. Dan, not healthy. He's railable, and if he's not careful, Cam with the angle and the tri-bolt. Beautiful shot. For the prediction, you knew exactly where Dan was going.
That is just lobbing it straight outside the map and getting a kill for it. And Dan's just pushed up against the wall by Cam's rockets there.
And this is why Cam said score limit, right? He wanted to take this over 20, and right now he's on track to do that.
Yeah, I'm taking a look at some of the other players from Div 1 who are in the audience watching, and they're looking at this going, God, I'm going to have to face that tomorrow.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure Dan's sitting there at that machine at the moment going, Jesus, what am I facing right now?
Mind you, good amount of LG, and Cam is forced to go back here. Does peek, but gets the rail, and Dan, he's just going to keep progressing, and Mega's still up for him.
Dan's not in a bad position stack-wise. He's going to pick up the Mega health. And that's a ton of starting MG damage that he was able to get onto Cam. And he's going to be wanting to try and turn this into his advantage. Cam knows that the heavy's coming up. Dan gets in there too early, doesn't get the item for himself. And Cam forces that spawn in the LG room, gets off the starting rail. And the rocket jump doesn't happen. Probably helps a little bit. Rocket to rail, starting MG comes out. And
yeah, good.
I think it's starting to get away from Dan a little bit.
Yeah, and like Cam's just been playing this really well, right? That weapon choice there, perfect. Just small little things that he's doing to like maximize his damage output and just ensure that he can keep Dan, you know, on the run and just keep this damage. Like even here, like beautiful rocket there, down from below and straight into another rocket, vertical rocket, and immediately off the spawn again.
That wasn't a heavy that Dan needed to go for damage on. I think we're going to see Dan just moving into the realm of, I've got to make something happen.
Yeah, with the score limit like this, and Cam below taking a huge amount of LG. No rockets left either.
But he knows exactly which way Dan's going to go, and he was trying to predict him there. You saw he was going to try and follow him and pump a rocket down there. Didn't quite work out that way, just speed wasn't there, but... That's a rail Dan would have wanted to hit, but Cam doesn't miss now.
So quick with that shot, but he actually goes for the second one, and Dan ready for it, taking the shot, and now he gets the heavy. Camera is crippled here when it comes to stack. There's nothing in this side of the map for him. If Dan's able to catch him, the armor does come up.
The LG closet strikes again. Dan's going to push in. He knows that he's got nothing. He gets a bunch of damage in. Cam's just running, and he's more than happy to play around in this little LG closet. Takes a rail for his trouble. He's so low on health. Dan's going to be working his butt off to get this frag. He's only got 32 more hit points to eliminate from there. He's looking for the kill. A little bit of shaft comes out. Look how Cam is just running.
Look how tricky he's been. Like, how long did he survive there on 30 HP? He had nothing. He had no rockets, nothing to work with. And he finally was able to get that kill, but we're at that point of the game where the clock is becoming the mysterious third player that everyone hates being in their duel match, in their 1v1 match. And the clock is just
ticking down for Dan.
Yeah, look, I don't think there's any way that Dan is, as aggressive as Dan can be. We've got 2 minutes left. This map,
Cam's not letting that
this map
happen.
is over.
No, this map is over. You're the one calling
I'm
snaps
calling it.
earlier than me now.
I'm calling it. The way Cam is playing, he wouldn't allow this to, I think, full out of 10, because he can just, he's hitting so much damage in these fights that even if, he doesn't get another frag here, right? Doesn't get to his 20, which I'm sure he won't. And oh my god, the LG from Dan is enormous, but Cam hit a direct look at that. Still doesn't matter too much, but the time, again, it still comes back down to the time. There's nothing he can do.
Yeah, yeah, words are escaping me right now. Like, predicted Cam was going to win. I thought we were going to see a little bit more of a fight from Dan. And the mysterious thing for me is a lot of these fights I wouldn't even call super close. There has been quite a lot of fights where Cam has come out quite healthy.
Yeah, yep.
It hasn't been a case of, a little misstep here and there has caused issues. It's literally been a case of he's just running. He's just running with it. I mean, Dan's closing the gap now, a minute remaining. I still think your call was the right call, but yeah, because we're going to see Cam just now delaying that spawn.
I would say just from delaying spawns alone, it would be enough to run this clock up. With 40 seconds left, 6 frags.
And I can't even refer back to what the other maps were going to be because they're sitting there in chat.
And it's going to have a little bit of a dance here for the final few seconds of this map. But yeah, Cam must be feeling really good, right? Coming into this first map.
Good.
One more map, right? And he's gone through the groups undefeated.
Now, I'm just looking at the player cams that we've got in front of the machines here. And, like, he doesn't even... looks like a robot, mate. There's been no expression change on the face. We might as well put a picture of him on stream.
That's what we've done, isn't it?
No, believe it or not, we do have live webcams on the stream here, we do. And these aren't images. Yeah, you can see he's moving there. And that's just how cool, calm, and collected he was throughout that entire match. 17-10. Is that just group stage Dan, though?
I guess we're going to have to find out tomorrow, right? Well, I shouldn't say that, because we've still got at least one more map to go. At least one more.
Well, if our predictions are correct, we're only going to be seeing one more map. But we'll see what happens there. Take a look at those percentages, though. Like, we're talking 52 and 46% rail. We're talking just shy of the 40% LGs from both players. 37% from Dan, 38% from Kama. It was a game of control and aggression. And yeah, now going into whatever our second map is, I can't remember what that was going to be.
CK was our second map?
Vale.
Vale.
Vale, we're getting our second
We're
Vale.
We're
getting a Vale.
Yes.
How could I forget the greatest map in Quake Champions? Vale and Affin, we're getting an Eisen versus a... BJ on Vale.
Look, I've seen Cam do this a fair bit with the. Don't know. I was being responsible.
You sure was. Dan, you do not have to wait for us, buddy. You just get those maps launched.
Go for it. We're excited to see this next one.
Okay, BJ and Eisen, Vale. Eisen is obviously the stronger choice, I'd argue. Maybe not against these players who can react and stop Timmy from getting damage off as quickly.
Well, the thing is, sometimes you don't even want Timmy to do the damage, right? He can just be that distraction. If you can do that 2v1, you have to deal with the turret first.
You know where he is.
That too, right? The intel. That's also almost just as important.
He's that portable shield you toss out in front of yourself.
We like to think of Timmy a little bit more than that, but...
But no, we're coming into the map now. Dropping stuff off the desk left, right, and center here, as potentially we're looking at the last map of this matchup.
Potentially the last match of the night.
I hope my prediction's wrong.
So do I.
It won't be wrong, but I hope my prediction's wrong.
Confidence. I like it.
So yeah, Vale. Let's see what happens here. Who are we going to be starting with?
Let's start with Dan here on this one.
Yep. Get the man from Spire himself.
3, 2, 1.
So Dan here with the Eisen. He's going to get straight through this LG spawn, and turret immediately thrown down, just blocking that rocket exit.
He wants to know when Cam goes for the rocket. because he knows the rockets are going to be the deadliest part of Cam's game that he has to deal with on this map. And he knows Cam's going to be coming through now. Let's see how this trap goes. I reckon Cam saw Dan's
Such a
foot.
smart play from Cam, yeah. He knew that something wasn't right about that, and Cam with the rail going around that wide. And he's another one too. The shot's immediately coming out from Cam. He's immediately looking deadly.
He's actually hitting the rails. And this is a map where you need to be hitting your rails on. And we weren't seeing them as much last map. I mean, we're still talking near 50% rails from both. But the rails that were missed on Awoken were, I won't say detrimental, we saw what the final score was.
Exactly, yeah. But let's see what's going to happen here.
The dual wield comes out and Dan just backs away from it, makes the ability essentially useless. The tri-bolt damage is good. The direct rocket through the floor. And we're going to see more tri-bolt coming out. Cam is hurting massively here. Timmy comes out. Timmy's just guarding the way. And Cam's trying to get rid of it. He knows not to go through the telly and he's going to back off.
I think that little bit of damage he got there at the end was just enough to force Dan back. But the problem he's got in now is Dan's going to have full control after this engagement. That rail doesn't connect. Would have been a nice shot for him. Dan still doesn't have this rail though. That's a key thing to know, right? Cam's been hitting these shots and he's been forced to use tri-bolt in these long-range engagements.
The tri-bolt's working at the moment though. Like, I mean, if you don't have rail, make do with what you have, and that's exactly what's happening. I don't think Cam was expecting Dan to crouch walk through the door like that, which threw off the shot, going for the headshot. The dual wield comes out. So much damage is exchanged from both players. The Portal games are being played again. Shrules would be happy if he was watching it. And Dan's forced to run away. The rocket connects. The rockets from Cam almost hit. Self-damage from Dan, both players having to back away.
That was a bit of a scrappy
I missed out on what happened there towards the end.
That was all over. Look, we're 2 minutes into this map, right, and we still haven't even got a frag yet. That's compared to our match of Awoken.
Vale is meant to be a match of higher scores. And that is not what we're seeing here, but we are seeing a lot of damage. Cam just picks up the heavy and he goes straight in to try and do damage. Gets up the ground again. The LGs are coming out. I think they're both going to make something of it. Dan's rail misses, but Cam's hits. And Dan's forced to back away. What did that mega cost him? And Cam knows exactly where he's going to be. Tries to set up the trap. First frag to Cam.
There we go.
And here we are. Let's see if the spawn frags happen. One rail.
Oh, risky.
Oh my
He
gosh,
drops down the bounce pad. But the thing is, he just killed Dan, who maybe wasn't ready for the LG, but he's going to go immediately for a refrag. So we're pretty much back to where we started. The dual even for the spawn kill. And
what is happening?
We're just going 1 for 1. All right, let's keep trading. Back to 2-2, and we're pushing straight back, and we want to keep this going. LG is strong, and the rocket jump up, and Dan.
Did you see that trace? Did you see that trace? That man is skywriting with the LG there.
What we just talked about how we've gone 2 minutes, right, with no frags, and now we've got 5 in the next minute.
Thank you for providing the entertainment, guys. And here we are. Dan is now up 4-2, and he's going to go for that damage straight off the spawn.
And he's going to try and keep
What happened in that 30 seconds?
And Dan, I think we're finally coming back to a bit of normality here. Now that's slowed down, but there we go. Dan gets that first rail. Does get one in return, so it's probably going to slow him down a bit. It gives him Cam a chance to sort of keep going. Oh, he wasn't ready for Cam to double back.
Cam knew what was going to be happening there. Not only did he hear the door open, but it was the read. Both players know each other so well that the double back tactics are going to be hard. Dan hears the small armor being picked up. He gets in there, does a ton of LG damage. The rocket he receives basically does nothing, and Dan is just slowly extending his lead here.
Good rocket.
What a great rocket.
Run out of LGs. Now forcing these rockets here, but doesn't matter. Huge rocket. Cam rail wall. He's got to try and run.
We've seen this before.
We've seen this many times before. Turret does come out. Nice shot from Cam. Just forced Dan off this. He was in a rail play, and Cam's still just pushing this.
Yep.
Mega is up, and Dan just has to hit one shot, but so does Cam now. Dan not able to return any damage to that fight. Cam was railable that almost that entire time. Oh, another one coming through in the back. And Cam is just the one who's hitting rail after rail, forcing Dan away. Heavy will be up, and Cam's still in position, but the LG from beneath.
Goes for the float, misses. Hits a little bit of LG damage, not quite the float. He wants the rail, misses. Camma punishes the missed rail. And straight in there he is. Gets rid of Timmy, and he's been pretty healthy straight after that.
And again, immediate refrag, right? Like that's the Dan playstyle. He'll get you low, and then he'll throw himself back at you just with whatever weapon he spawns with, and he will come back, and he will be hitting hard with it.
And Hardy is hit. Sets up a great trap, catches Cam as he goes through, forces him through the telly, and then he's just, I'm out of here, bro.
So it's nice for Cam to be able to hit that rail, actually. It probably saved his life again on another great run. Cam is just hitting every single rail right now. He's
Where were these rails in Awoken? I mean, he didn't need them in Awoken, but where were they in Awoken? And that was a bit of a messy kill. And I don't think Dan's going to be able to do anything with how low he got Cam after that fight, because look how much higher Cam is now. The Mega and the small armor's keeping him afloat.
Oh, and the turret actually just saves him from taking some damage there. So
Portable shield wall.
Timmy doing his job.
At this skill level, Timmy's not doing damage. Timmy is soaking damage.
And Dan's got himself caught here in a really dangerous position, but the LG damage, wow, Cam is forced back off. He hits a fantastic rail before he goes, and he gets Mega as well. So he's put himself in a great spot again. He's going to get full stack.
Still
and he's
only
going to
one
try
frag,
it again through the TP, try and catch Dan off. This time, Dan's a little bit faster.
Yeah, it's not really a route you see many people take in competition, taking that teleporter. And Dan is just hitting all of the rockets, and Cam getting a little bit frustrated there. I don't think Dan was too happy that that was a mutual. He's gonna get the heavy without being contested. But Cam hits the follow-up rail right afterwards. And we are now 6-7. Dan's still in the lead by 1, and this is at the almost 7-minute mark. Still anyone's game. Cam's coming in with the aggressive rockets. Floating Dan, there's the midi.
Beautiful shot there from Cam. And Dan, yeah, he's just playing that angle perfectly, right? It's so hard to get those vertical rockets, and he cleans it up. And Jewel's going to come out here from Cam.
I mean,
Timmy's doing his work.
Timmy is distracting, and Dan is just using that distraction for all it's worth.
That actually worked out really well for him. Oh my god, the
rocket
direct
rail combo.
Unfortunate for him, it doesn't get the kill, but Dan with the suicide with the tri-bolt.
I think he just gave it to Cam like, that was a beautiful combo, you deserved it, mate.
I'll say he was like, I should have died here, fair enough, but...
The sportsmanship, let's call it that. I was about to say the rail exchange, I don't think Cam got hit with a rail from down there, as both players are going to be fighting over this heavy that's coming up next. Dan, respectfully backing away, has actually just given Cam that heavy. And I think we're going to be... Dan going more for the Mega health. No, he's missing out on the Mega as well.
So he knows he can't take a rail here, and oh my god, the rocket jump, that's such a ballsy play, and he's hit the first rail. He's got to be so careful though, he's now rail, and the LG swap from Cam.
Cam knew exactly where he was
just deleted it.
I mean... Someone like me shouldn't be telling Dan what to do, but in that situation, you don't go for that light armor. You get out of dodge.
I think he was sort of in a situation where it's like, you're kind of dead, so it's like maybe if he hits that second rail, you know, he's in a much better spot there, and then maybe Cam's like, all right, well now I've got to be careful because now I'll be railable. Jewel comes out though, Dan's got the high ground position. He's actually going to push straight through. Rockets from Dan is good. The turret underneath as well,
does a ton of damage.
And the rail from Dan connects, cleans it up. We're still a 1 frag game, 7-8. Dan looking for the spawn frag, but Cam's got nowhere to be seen.
And now this is what's going to make it harder for Dan. He doesn't have Cam in that.
That's a good way to start, right?
That's a good way to make things a bit easier.
He's just returning to sender what Cam sent to him. So
he's really hating hearing me on the mic at the moment. He's just definitely turning everything I say into complete horse manure as I'm saying it. And we love him for that.
Exactly. Anyway, Dan is put himself in a good spot here. See, he's got a bit of a mistiming though. He's got the items mixed up. Yeah, he's mixed up both Mega, and that means Cam's got Mega, and he's just realized now.
Yeah, Cam's going to know that he's got the Mega coming, the Heavy coming up soon. He's going to be trying to deny. He's heard the pickup. And just the damage output that's coming in. Dan decided to make something of it.
Wow,
rocket jumps up straight into a rail.
Beautiful combo kill there again from Dan. The precision of that rocket jump is the perfect angle, right? He gets straight up top, but immediately Cam, all he needs is that rail, and he's going to punish you. Dan going through the TP here. He's low on rockets. He's got no rockets, in fact, low on rails.
I mean, the situation we're in now, where we're at 8-8, 30 seconds left on the clock. With the potential of this going to overtime, or this next frag really being the decider, this is not a good space to be Dan at the moment.
Especially after taking that rail, the LG battle. This could be the decider of the element there. Missed rail
How
from
is Cam alive?
And he misses another rail. That is Dan in the lead now, 8 seconds. And Timmy
doing work. There's 5 seconds left on the clock. Cam has got to get through and make something of this. He's going for the desperation. 1 second. We are going to map number 3. We didn't predict this happening. What a showing from Dan there. Just pulling it together at in the last 30 seconds.
There was so many like clutch plays there from both players. Phenomenal, like, the combo rocket to rail mix-ups.
From both.
The rocket, yeah, exactly.
The MIDI
both.
from Cam. Cam got a MIDI on stream. Someone better go back, clip that for him so he can rate himself on that. I don't think he'll be rating it too high. It wasn't as spectacular as some, but...
So, a third map.
Take a look. Both players hitting basically 50% rail.
Yeah.
The LG not hitting as much, but with the angles, you kind of expect that here. And just the rocket rail combos, like, that
was some of the most probably entertaining. Right. Is it safe to say that was the most entertaining match of the night so far?
It's up there with Knight v Dan from this morning for me.
Yeah.
But you said tonight, so yes, tonight. I'll give that to you. Knight v Dan happened in the morning. But we saw a similar thing with Knight v Dan in the morning. That last map came down to the last 10 seconds, and we just saw it happen. Again, it came down to the last 30 seconds. And yeah, we're now into Corrupted Keep, where we're going to see an Anarchy versus Galena. And we've seen a few times today, over the course of the day, that the Galena is just so strong on Corrupted Keep right now.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, but the Galena might almost be undefeated.
I haven't been keeping track that much. We'll need to get our scorekeeper, the keeper of stats, Truls, to eventually put that together.
I'd actually like to know that, because I don't think we've seen, at least on stream anyway, a Galena go down yet, especially on, because we've seen plenty of Galena here on CK.
Yeah.
So I really do rate Cam's pick here.
Yeah, I have to question the Anarchy. There's a ton of champs to pick from. Why the Anarchy? I mean, I know in tournaments of past, years past, we've seen Anarchy be a strong champ to pick on CK just because of the speed of getting around to all the items and being able to lock off sections of map. But if you're the down player and if you're ever out of control, against a Galena, it's just going to be so much work to get back there.
And I wonder how, it'll be interesting to see how Cam's going to decide to play this Galena. We're not, we saw how Salty was playing it, right? Just controlling that LG room, or is it going to be just much more aggressive? I think a lot more aggression is what we're going to see.
I reckon we're going to be seeing a free-for-all game. Speaking of the Div 4 players, I'm sure we're going to see Badzor happy to see how this one's going to play.
All right, we're starting here on Cam. Final map of the night. We've gone all the way. We're going to see a nail engagement here at the start. And first rockets. Oh my god, the rocket's coming out from Dan. He's swapping out to the LG, and well, Dan's just a good start from him.
And this is the type of start that you want, especially when you're an Anarchy. You want this start where you're still relatively healthy. I say healthy as Dan's running away on 30 hit points. Cam knows he's low, and he's going to push his advantage here. The MG spam is just... it's a thing to behold.
And shotgun here, right, it's a good weapon, but not that good, I'm afraid, Dan. But he tried to get what he could in that situation, and the LG, huge amount of damage, even in that tiny little window that he got. Falling back there, playing the weapon advantage, but wow, those rockets from Cam are phenomenal, and Dan is sent packing. He's got to get out of here.
This is that situation that we were just talking about minutes ago, where a light champ against a Galena on CK is going to be a tough champ to break this control with.
And especially here, he's 10 seconds off triple totems as well. He's just got heavy. And he might even catch any. Oh, the rocket's so close. Doesn't have LG, so he's going to have to get up here finally. It's because no G's spamming the nail. And now he's got this Mega Totem. He's going to be happy to take this fight and clean it up. Easily going to go around the spawn frag. He's going to have this extra totem just beneath him if he wants it. He's not even going to go for his constant. He wants more kills. That's all it is.
That's confidence. That's confidence. There was not a question in his mind that kill was coming his way. Probably not for that one either.
And we're going to see probably another spawn frag here.
And that's what can happen on CK, especially at this level. The spawn frags can just start happening one after the other. Dan's done well to break the cycle there and get a rocket straight into Cam's face, although probably not doing as much damage as he would have hoped. And we're about to see the triple totems come out in a second here, although Dan's seen that totem. The totem is down. Cam immediately places it.
And the thing is, though, down there, he tried to destroy that totem, I think, but rocket in front of his face, and he actually killed himself on that totem, and it's you got to be careful. They have more health now.
Yeah, I was going to say we're down. Dan's 0 kills to 5, 2 minutes in on CK. This isn't detrimental to Dan.
Look, he's
No,
he's done comebacks before.
It's CK. We've spoken about how this map is the one where you jump on the friendly gentleman.
And the machine gun damage right now, and the direct rocket as well.
Oh, he almost went out of the map. Did you see that? There was that pause of
for a second.
I almost died.
And then immediately after, going through the TP, he's gone. And look at that. That one totem has put the... Look how low the Anarchy is right now.
Yeah.
Just from hitting one totem.
60 damage totems. That hasn't changed in the patch, but you don't want to run into him as a light champ, especially when you've got no protection. Dan's just going to try and escape. He's just eaten rockets. That's 100 rocket from Cam there. As Cam's going to come down and...
Wow.
What?
Somehow the shotgun, the LG not doing much, and then the... Two beefy shotguns is what does that.
I thought Sync had a filter on if your name was Dan the King, super shotgun damage max 17.
Apparently not on LAN. Just online for that one.
He fixed the code. But that, I was fully expecting that to be the 7th kill for Cam. But Dan is still alive.
Dan. Look, I think that this has given Dan a lifeline that maybe he shouldn't have here, right? Like, for all intents and purposes, right, Cam should still win and control this, but he's going to make do with what he can.
Cam's going to make this next frag that Dan's going to try and get as painful as possible, because he knows if he makes it as painful as possible, Dan just can't start running conversion frags on it. And if he can't run those conversions, if he can't turn that one frag into 5, great rocket placement by Cam there, then how's Dan going to be able to get back in? And look at the tri-bolt he just received there.
The other thing too that I'm noticing that when Cam's doing, he's sort of sticking more to this heavy side of the map, right? We're talking at the start where not people try and deny that LG, but when you're playing against a light champion, the armor is such a crucial thing. You don't spawn with any. And right now, look, yeah, Dan's got this inject.
Yeah, Cam is not fearing the LG at all. He's not fearing the hit scan.
Dan's will get this Mega again. Again, he's still got this inject, but with this stack,
does the Anarchy really need the Mega health?
Exactly right.
The question.
And Cam's going to try and deny. He does get the 225 shots. This is going to be a chance caught up now by the statue with the LG. And Dan's going to try and push in here. He'll use inject as needed. Still 15 seconds off this Mega Cam. A little bit of self-damage. Tribot coming down from above.
Dad is not keen to leave this Mega spawn at the moment. There's still 5 seconds left until it spawns. And he's just getting pushed off of the item.
Mind you, he can fall back now and trying to get towards his heavy time, but Cam, as soon as he realizes where Dan's going, he immediately, quick play, he goes, all right, this is my chance to get to the other one, because they're both now pretty much in sync. There we go, 2 totems, both
almost
gone.
ran into all 3.
And he's found the 3rd one, but look at that, the damage immediately coming. Inject is forced, but surely there's no way that Dan survives. Cam dropping down the LG, and the rocket won't be enough.
Yeah, Dan's not in a great position there. The lava pit is not a corner you want to be backed into. And this is slowly starting to get out of Dan's hands.
7-1, halfway through.
I'm not calling it yet. It's the last match of the night. These guys deserve the respect of not having it called. As Dan just pushes his way in, bullies his way into that nail gun room, and picks himself up his 2nd frag of the match. Last map of the night, mate. What a day it's been, especially to finish with these two. The LG not connecting as he's hoped. The rockets, the defensive rockets from Cam just forcing Dan out of there. And Dan's finally picking himself up some small armors. I don't think I've seen him actually collecting many of them.
Well, the thing is, being sort of stuck on this side of the map, so he's had to get a few just to be able to keep that stack going. He's had always so much health, but never enough armor to play with, and Cam is obviously been forced in this. And right now, this is Dan's chance. He wants to try and get through any sort of initial damage with the tri-bolt spam coming through, just forcing him back. It's not enough to, let Cam get a frag here, but it's enough to just keep his armor down, right? And that's what Cam is trying to do. Beautiful rocket there. More chip damage. Dan trying to punish that heavy pickup.
Yeah, and Dan just having to play a very, very clinical game here. This is kind of what we've heard Dan talk about before. He plays his own game regardless of what's happening. And we can see him trying to force the way he wants to play this map onto Cam at the moment. And you get the feeling it's just going to take one clean frag. 76 damage, almost unresponded to. He takes a rocket to the face.
You could see like Dan's decision making there, right? He hit that shot, the totem's so close. Then Cam is going to be able to clean this up and
cleans it up.
Another frag. And this is starting to look really rough now, especially now pushing him with the gauntlet. Does get a couple of bits of damage in there, but the super shotgun is a much better close range weapon.
I get the feeling Dan's just at the point now of he's just got to jump on him. That's what he's got to do, and we're seeing that now. He's just jumping on him, getting as much damage as he can. He's got to make something happen. We're 7 minutes and 30 seconds into this match. It's almost over. When you're 7 frags down, you've just got to make something happen. That's what Dan's going to be trying to do. But Kama's got such a great read on him. A little tickle from the shaft is all that's needed to make Dan move away. Dan's trying to contest for this Mega. Not going to happen. The inject comes out. And, yeah.
Let me see again, just Dan, right? Like, what can you do here?
Yeah.
Inject's been used. Barely got above 50 health.
You got to question that. You got to question the Anarchy pick. Like, I feel like we've seen the Anarchy pick on CK from Dan a few times, and it hasn't worked for him, especially against other high-level players. We're talking like Rafa and Razy from KwachiCon. We did similar picks on CK there, and it just didn't work. And Kama's up at the same caliber as Dan, obviously, and the Anarchy on CK just isn't working, especially with Kama on Galena, which, as you pointed out, has been so strong.
Yeah, it's the Glen and huge tribal there again. And that's the thing, Kama's just doing such a fantastic job of just stopping Dan from being able to really take these fights. Like even here again, the inject will come out and he may actually be muted potentially even here, but Dan actually sneaking through, stealing away that item. But with a minute to go, 6 frags, it's doable.
Yep. He's got to charge though, that's the thing. He's got to make it happen. 6 frags in 1 minute. You've got to remember that players can delay their spawn by up to 3 seconds, and you can guarantee your Cam will be doing that. He's not even going to try and engage. He's just more than happy to wind down this clock. The mutual happens. I reckon we're going to see a GG get called soon. Yeah, you can see on screen there, Dan was not happy about that one.
Yeah, he thought this is his chance, right? You get that kill, then, it's still hard, but it's possible. But then, yeah, it's just Cam being able to get such fantastic damage in return. That's the thing, both these players, you can never expect to get a free kill. No. It's always so much damage coming in return, either side.
Every kill is earned with these two.
Yeah, exactly. There's never any freebies. And beautiful
it goes for the midi.
Full respect, full respect.
Full disrespect, you mean, mate. Goes for it. What a mad lad. Doesn't quite pull it off. It would have been cool to capture on stream if that was the case. But yeah, 10 seconds left. Is that Kama coming away P1 for the group stages of Div 1?
As far as I'm aware, that is undefeated there for Cam. So give it up to Cam, right? What a fantastic showing there. Undefeated in the group stage. Yeah, give him a round of applause, everyone. Come on.
From the audience. And hopefully we'll see, we'll get Cam over for a little bit of a chat before we finish up for the night.
Yeah, we'll go get Cam, have a quick chat, and then we'll farewell everyone, because it's been a long, long day of Quake, but it's been an entertaining one.
I hope that didn't come through.
And congratulations, Cam. Well done. How did you feel after that?
We're just having a bit of fun, you know.
just a bit of fun, of course it is. Yeah, right. Yeah,
No,
right.
it's going for tit for tat, you know. Like it's a bit of fun, you know. Give something for the crowd, you know. They wanted to see some kills, so.
You certainly showed off, right? There was some great moments between.
Oh,
both
he was
of you.
doing the same thing. You
Oh,
know what I mean?
especially that veil, right? That was.
Yeah,
That was.
I mean,
oh.
if you're looking objectively, I blew that valve completely when I pushed the teleporter.
I thought you gave it to him just so we get a third
No,
map.
no. Well, I don't know. I can't help myself. You know what I mean? Because wins are like whatever, but frags are eternal. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
you know,
You wanna-
I'm
yeah.
all about the frags, mate.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, you had some bangers there. So you undefeated, right? Yeah, through groups.
Yeah, that's right.
Great.
Yeah. So well, you know, at the start of the day, I thought to myself, "Fuck, how many maps do I need to win if I win every split, every group? 14. So I got 14. So
Yeah.
that was the only one I dropped. So
Also, was the first drop map for the whole.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. So obviously, yeah, we're coming into tomorrow, right? Now it's favourite, first seed. So how are you feeling about that?
obviously it's a bit better, but the fact is, Salty Knight, they're going tit for tat. Me, Dan going tit for tat.
Yeah.
Even the 5-6 Lure and probably Lucky played quite well against me today. So at the end of the day, as long as I was 1 or 2, I'll be happy. You know what I mean? But
Okay.
I don't know who it'll be against now. Will it be a Knight, or if I made it to the semi-final, would it be against Knight, or who finished 4th? Knight.
Honestly, we don't even know at this point. There's
so-
been so many games have been just a lot of effectively rock paper scissors in between each other. There's
Yeah,
been so
that's
many.
right.
So until we sit down and really have a look at it, I honestly could not tell you
I
who was
think
going to be.
Dan probably finished 2nd.
Dan, I think
And he definitely didn't finish 4th. So
Yeah, no. As far as I'm aware, I think Dan only dropped 1. No, two actually, because
He
Knight
two,
took him.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
Yeah,
it's-
Knight took him in the morning.
I'm going to guess probably Dan second.
I'll go
I
through the
believe.
games if you want. I played.
Yeah, go for it.
First game was Knight, so it felt so similar to that because the last LAN that we played at, he was the first opponent I played as well.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But he's here to show me, but
Then
it didn't quite work out for him. And I didn't play that well myself, but he didn't play well either.
Yeah.
The first game, he's still getting used to it and all that. I mean, the scores were reasonably close. It was like 10-7, 11-8 or something, but it was 7-1, 8-1, or 8-2 or something before he came into the game.
Yeah.
And then I just sort of the game sort of petered out. So
Yeah.
the scores were close, but it wasn't like he was in a position to win all those maps. Salty was next. First map was sort of similar. Like I got off to a 5-1 start. And I made a bad play, and he got to 5-2. But then I got the next kill for. Cheers, bro.
celebratory drink. It's deserved. Well deserved.
You're not allowed to have drinks up here, right?
Check on the back.
I've never been one for the rules.
You'll be
know
right.
that.
Yeah, you'll be right.
And then the second map, oh, it's just poor champions by him. Salty got destroyed. It was like 20-4 by the time he quit, and that was only 5 minutes through the duel. So,
Hey, that was the thing we say about Salty. He's either going to 40-0 you or he's going to GG at the
Yeah.
3-minute
No,
mark.
yeah.
the third game, who was that? Redox side. He actually did all right. Like I think it was 12-2 and 16-4 or something. Comfortable wins, obviously,
Yeah.
but no, he hit a couple of absolutely insane shots on me, because he's been hitting some insane rails online.
Yeah,
and then I just thought, it must be his 5 ping, but it wasn't. He was doing it just then too, like literally insane pixel shots. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, he's a sharp player. I think, it's been a bit of a rough little patch, but, full credit to him.
Well, he's a funny guy because you talk to him and it's just like sometimes he can't remember what happened in the games. And I was talking to Mike and he said, Cam, I think one of the reasons why you and Fraser are always doing well is because you remember everything that happened.
Yeah. Well, that's the when you said I can go over all the games, I'm like, I wasn't expecting scorelines.
No, I can remember the game. I can remember where I went wrong on pretty much all the games.
I can barely remember the scorelines of the last game you just played.
And then the next one was who was it? Lua. Lua, the first game, he actually lagged a split second on the first frag on Ruins of Sarnath, and I killed him with LG for literally nothing. And I was
Wrong
waiting for
land,
him
mate.
There's no lag on
No,
land.
he did it was like something happened to his
Something
computer.
happened, okay,
and I was peeking out the corner of my eye because he's sitting next to me, waiting for him to peer his
look
head
back
around
and
the
be like-
corner and say, "Oh, bro, can we restart?" But to his credit, he didn't say that. I mean, usually I would restart if that happened, but it's tournament, so you just keep playing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I would have restarted if he said restart, but he never said anything. So I thought maybe he was just retarded. But then the next game was Lucky. Honestly, Lucky, I wouldn't say he nearly beat me because you win 2-0. I'm a big believer when you win 2-0, you didn't nearly lose. You only nearly lost when they won a map, and then you nearly lost the third map or the second map. To me, you never nearly lost when you didn't lose a map.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in that. But Molten Falls, he tried to snipe me with his pick bands. But he'd be doing his homework, that guy, eh? And we haven't been playing for ages. I keep asking him.
Yeah.
But he's not responding.
He's trying to hide his skills from you,
No,
mate.
I already knew he's a good player, of course. But I think I was testing him a bit too. I just want to see how good he was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I just want to see. I knew he'd improved. Everyone would say they improved. I want to see how good. And I didn't play very well at all. Molten Falls, the first few minutes of the duels, I was just walking around like a moron. I forgot the exact. I hadn't actually played that map since I got to Melbourne.
Also been a new map in the field. No one's really had time to crack it, right?
No, I haven't played it that much in duels. I don't really like it because I feel it's too closed. I much prefer Insomnia. I think there was a lot more.
Okay.
I would have loved to have seen some Insomnia here.
So that's the thing with the last split. That's another factor that comes into the split is that the map pool is different from the split that I just won.
Yeah.
So obviously taking aside the lag and being on land now as a difference, but the map pool is also different too.
Yeah.
And I'm not as strong in this map pool as what I am in the other map pool. Because
Yeah,
Insomnia was my pick. I would pick
Yeah,
that. That and Vale, the two maps I would pick.
Yeah. I did see you picking that map a few times, and it's not a map that most people would be. I don't think as comfortable with.
That's why you do it. Same
Exactly.
with Vale, because for some reason they don't think about it. They only think about most people only think about the maps that they hate. They never Awoken or those.
Well, they think about their favourite or their least favourite, right?
And the other thing is, everyone here picks CK against me because there's no rail. So they always think no rail you can get on top. But my tribot's quite strong on CK.
Yeah, so we've seen a lot of impressive tribal use from that. But just the fact that you can use it almost just like a rail, right?
Yeah, well, you can.
You're using it to just keep your opponent at bay, and you did really well at just controlling the.
My tribot's actually not as good on the other maps. I don't know as many of the angles. I prefer rail. But on CK, obviously, there's no rail. So,
exactly,
me and Fraser used to learn all the angles that you push forward from and just hit him with the tribolt. And because me and Fraser, this is the thing, we used to play, and obviously we're pretty good players both. So you're playing a rush off where you're both rushing constantly against each other. So you learn all the spawns. You know how to defend against every spawn. Push forward on low health, because if you don't, he's just going to come kill you because he's good.
Exactly. Yeah.
So me and Fraser played many games like that. The next game, so lucky. It was close games. I only just won by a couple of ticks LG in the end, on Deep Embrace. Yeah. I don't think Strog Peak is that good on that map, especially not against Ranger, because you can't use your crouch slide properly. And my movement's a bit clumsy at the best of times. But the next game was Mike. I put Mike away completely. I always put Mike away.
You're his kryptonite, are you?
Yeah, it was actually funny. I heard him saying, "Oh, I've got Dan. I'm glad for that." And who would ever say that? Who would ever say that? I've got Dan King. Yeah, I'm glad for that. You would never say that, because I put him away completely. Every time I play him, I put him away completely. No, he'll beat me next time. But
now that you've said that, you're gonna meet each other now.
But I always say to people about him, he's better than what he does against me. Because I don't know,
you've just got his number.
He can't get close to me, you know what I mean?
I'll say you just exactly counter his.
Yeah, and I know he's always pushing. He likes to push, and and he has got good aim with all three weapons, which is actually a rarity in Quake. Even if you look at in my opinion, my humble opinion, the professional, even in the professional scene, not too many of the pros can use all three weapons well. You're thinking your Avex, a lot of the Russian guys are pretty good, and your Raffas, these type of players, they can. But some of the other guys who are at the top echelons of Quake, they really can't. Yeah. But Mike can. But yet, I'm waiting. Where is it? What's
something
missing,
about it. Look, maybe it's going to tick. Maybe one day it'll just click over, and it's just going to he's going to come at you, and you're not going to be ready for it.
Yeah. And obviously that last game then was Dan. That was just a bit of fun. We're having fun. But I knew I only needed one map to secure first place. Even if I lost 2-1, I'll still be first.
So of course,
I just want one map.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I wanted to win the set, of course, but realistically, I was going to
put on a show.
Yeah, Dan loves his visor. I don't know if we're playing for a more serious spot in the future. He'll want visor against Ranger. I just think Ranger is just better in that matchup on that map, because you just got that damage. And, he's very skilled visor, but I just think Ranger offers just a little bit more.
Yeah, it's hard to defend against. Yeah, there's a few times we saw visor playing against a few champs like Strog and all that. It's just, you've got sight, it's great, but once they come at you, there's nothing. You're out of utility, right?
His timing on his sight's usually very good.
Yeah.
But there's only so much you can do with it. You know what I mean? Yeah. It doesn't actually give you free damage.
Right. Yeah. Of course.
So obviously it helps combat, but and then the Veil was, and that was a bit back and forth. It was good because it was similar to the split where I was behind by a few frags, and I can always come back on that map because I know how to my left, right, good night rails.
Right. Yeah.
Fraser always used to say, "I hate Cam, you're so shit at this map, but I just can't beat you." So. Yeah, that's what he always used to say. So, just usually the close range rail, generally speaking, that's a strength of mine in Quake. Yeah. So on that map, it's pretty good. Awoken's pretty good. See, the longer range rails like BC and that, it's a bit harder to be really consistent.
Yeah.
Because it's just they're hard shots, you know what I mean?
Exactly, yeah.
And then the third match, I just said to Dan after the game, Anaki's shit compared to Galena now.
Well, we've seen, as I was saying before, I was like, I don't think Galena's lost a single match tonight on stream, like, at all. I think
On
everyone,
CK.
especially on
three
Sport,
blokes picked Galena the first map against
Yeah.
me, and 3 blokes got completely destroyed.
Yeah,
on,
but
on,
they weren't
on stream.
They
They weren't on
No,
stream.
because
yeah.
I said to Knight, I said to Mike, and I said to Lua, who all picked Galena on the first
yeah.
map against me, and I was Ranger in all 3.
Yeah.
You're just asking to lose. You know, like I'm like on paper the better player, and you're giving me the better champion.
Yeah.
On the first map, it's like, are you actually planning to win this series, or like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? And they all like say that, nah, Cam, you don't know. All right, no worries, do it again. No, all good. I'm happy.
I'm sure they're going to listen to you tomorrow now,
like
mate.
like Redoxide always says, if I could take Ranger on every map, I'll take Ranger on
yeah,
every fucking map.
yeah.
I don't care what
Yeah.
map. If it's fucking BC or anything, I still want Ranger. If I can get Ranger,
I think
I'll
most
always
people,
be happy.
Yeah, I think most people agree with that. That Ranger is pretty much the.
He's the best.
Yeah.
Well, Strog is equally
I was
good,
about
but
to
in
say-
that matchup, in my opinion, Ranger is simply better.
I agree. 100. Yeah, I 100% agree.
I mean, a lot of people say otherwise, but the fact is, you can't really use your ability as Strog because you're vulnerable when you use it.
Yeah.
Whereas against every other champion, you're not vulnerable.
exactly.
when you use
Ranger's
it.
got that ability to get straight
Yeah,
onto
and
you.
he's
so
in there, and
you've
he's
got
just
to be
like,
so
he
careful.
doesn't, when he bounces off you with his rockets, he
Yeah.
doesn't even hurt himself.
Yeah,
So he just
exactly.
goes bounce, rocket jump off the head and go on, you know what I mean? So, no, it's just a bit of fun. But, yeah, good to get first place, you know. Like I said in the Memorial to Fraser, it's a funny feeling for me to come to this tournament because I've never come to a tournament before, ever, where I was looking to fly the flag for my family and win the tournament.
Yeah.
It was always Fraser doing that, and I was just like there for have a crack.
Come on,
Obviously
have a bit of fun and
Have a
see
bit of fun.
everyone
No, I was
and-
like trying to win, of course, but
Oh,
you know,
obviously, yeah.
you're still keeping one eye on him.
Yeah, yeah.
Now he's keeping one eye on me.
Yeah, it's good. to hear.
So, yeah, we'll see how we go. Obviously, I put myself in a good position, but to be honest, I was pretty confident I'd finish in the
Yeah.
top 2.
Top 2 at least. Yeah.
I
yeah.
mean, you might slip a game or a map here. That's going to happen.
Yeah.
But, you know, overall, 7 sets. You know, I was confident I would.
Yeah,
be
it's,
able to-
and the thing is, it's a long day worth of games, right? And you.
yeah.
So do you find that, like, by the end of the days that you start, did your decision making start, wavering a bit, or are you still as consistent first map in the day through the very final map? Like the 20th map or whatever many maps you played in that day.
You know me and Fraser, we can put in a shit.
I've got messages from you. Who knows what hours of the morning?
Well, that's the thing. Like, well, one thing is we play a fair bit when we're playing. That's the thing. So everyone always says you play so much, but the fact is, when we're playing, I'm here to play.
Yeah,
Like my
like,
missus, she'll come in after 2 hours and she'll say, "Oh, yeah, let's go to the cinema. You've had enough." Fuck me, I'm just getting warmed up. You know, what I mean? 2 hours.
Yeah,
if you told me I could only play for 2 hours, I wouldn't have fucking bothered. That's like 2 maps of CS or something. Fuck me. 10 hours.
That's
10
actually a really
hours.
good
I'm,
point.
I'm ready to play. I'm
That's
ready
a
to
real
go.
session,
I'm
exactly.
just like going good now. You know what I mean?
That's
So-
actually a really good point. 2 hours is just 2 maps of CS.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing. Like we've always been grinders when we're playing.
Yeah.
So a lot of the guys they can't do that. Like even especially if they're losing. For me, if I'm losing, fuck, I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'll learn something. From
Learn
it.
something,
I'm not
exactly,
gonna just sit there like a moron and keep doing the same thing over and over again. I'll look and see what I'm doing. Like why am I losing? And then I work it out. And then some guys they lose 3 maps. Oh, a bit tired. Like you know what I mean. Like bro, like
You're just
we
scaring.
playing or we playing?
You're scaring them off. That's all it is.
See,
man.
that's why I respect Mike because and Redoxide as well.
They'll
They'll
play.
come for a beatdown and
Yeah.
they'll just play.
Yeah.
And it's fun, you know what I mean? Like, it's fun for me. I don't know. It's fun for them.
You're enjoying it, maybe.
Speaking of which, we still have to get you to beat 50 against me, mate.
I don't think it's possible in QCA. It's pretty fucking hard.
I reckon you'll be able to pull it off.
I reckon if
against me.
you didn't delay your spawns and you picked a light on Deep Embrace and you just attacked, 50 is
Show
possible.
match tomorrow if we've got time.
Yeah. Well, when I played him in the last chance qualifier, I actually said to a couple of the boys, my goal was to die 0 times in 3 maps. I succeeded on the first map, but then he got me a couple of times. On
Do
the second.
you want to know what my goal was against all of them?
Get more than
to
3
get
kills.
at least one
One
kill
kill,
against you on each map.
yeah. Well, you failed then.
I know.
Yeah.
I got close though.
Yeah, close.
I
You
felt
did get
close.
You did get close. But I was BJ on that 25.
Wait, you can
reset,
remember that
Yeah,
match?
of course I can.
I can't remember it, mate.
yeah.
It's still a blur.
Can you remember
remembers
click and
every
respawn?
match.
Pardon?
Can you remember click and respawn?
Yeah, I can remember click and respawn. Yeah, I remember on that first map doing it 38 times.
38 times? Yeah, 38 to something like that. Was that my kills or include your suicides?
Yeah, let's not worry about that right now.
Let's change the subject. Tasman doesn't want to bring back memories.
Anyway, yeah, that's pretty much my day. So, and I had hardly any sleep, so as well. I slept last night. I couldn't sleep. Maybe it's just anxious. I don't know what it is, but hopefully I get a bit of sleep tomorrow. Obviously, it'll be a bit more important matches tomorrow. But at the end of the day, like,
Today's got a bit of good confidence boost.
Well, the land feels good. things feel good. If someone can beat me, like Dan beats me or one of the other guys beats me, I'll shake their hand and say well played.
Yeah.
It feels good. I'm feeling comfortable. If they can get me, they got me. That's why.
Will you say they're the better player?
Yeah. Well,
hesitated for a second.
Well, in that moment, you know what I mean? That's the thing about Australian Quake, mate. And everyone who's ever competed in Australian Quake, and even Quake in general. But look at the pros in Europe and that. They're playing in one major tournament per year.
Yeah.
So you lose that one match, you were never that good, or you're not good, you know what I mean? You're just an online player, you know what I mean? And it's just literally one map that you lost. So that's just the nature of it. You know, you don't get that many chances. So, you know, it ebbs and flows, you know what I mean? One guy's playing well, and this guy's playing well. And it's just the nature of Australia. You just have to understand it, you know what I mean? So it is what it is. I know my place in Australian Quake, and I know my own skill level. Fuck, that's all that matters. When I was younger, I would say otherwise, but now, that's all that matters, mate.
Good idea.
If someone can get me, I'll shake their hand and say well played. That's what I said to Salty. If you can get me, mate, no worries. Shake your hand and say well done.
Well, everyone will be gunning for you tomorrow.
You put a big
he'll have to play better than what he did today, because that was shocking.
You put a big target on your back after today.
He raged in every other game. He never raged in that one because he knew he got played. Anyway, anything else?
All right. Well, anything you want to say before we finish up? Because it's been a long day of Quake, so I think everyone here is probably getting ready to call it a night.
I've still got to pack down my station.
Well, you've been busy. But so anything you want to say at 21 or?
No, I'll just we'll live for the rest of the tournament, you know. And I'll probably play it on stream some stage tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see you tomorrow.
I love that confidence.
Oh, well, fucking.
I mean, it's a given, but I love the confidence.
It's not playing Dasbok in a best of 5, but, you know. I don't know how
I don't think the stream could handle that level of entertainment.
Might come last. He was
I
said, he was pretty happy to play Dandy King. So
again, honestly, I could not tell you who came last.
Mike wouldn't have come last because if he did, he would be playing you tomorrow.
So it must be Redoxide then. He actually played okay against BA.
So he might be able to beat you tomorrow.
Wouldn't go that far.
Bit nervous.
A map.
I don't know.
But the thing is, it's very difficult. See, a best of 3 you can win reasonably certainly against someone who is better than you. A best of 5 is a bit harder because you've got to win 3 maps. That's a lot. It can be done, but it's hard. And that goes for even me, you know, when you're playing against better players than me, you know what I mean? It's not easy. So,
all right, well, thank you for coming along, having a chat. It was a lot of fun.
No
So we look forward to seeing you on the stream and potentially back here tomorrow. Good luck for the rest of the tournament tomorrow. Wish you the best. Congratulations on your win.
Thank you. Get on the beers.
Enjoy your night, mate.
You deserve it.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. We've had let Cam get out. There we go. So, we've had one long day. It's been a bit all over the place.
It's been an exhausting day, mate.
It really has been. It really has been.
But exhausting in a good way.
Exactly. We're glad to be here. You know, nowhere else would rather be, I think, than here right now. So, thank you for everyone for playing. All the players. You know, we've had a great session. Right, we've had games going on all day, pretty much consistently, since.
Yeah, even with the technical difficulties, we were able to overcome and still get the matches happening. Yeah. So it's just been an amazing day of Quake, and I'm looking forward for more of it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Where the results are mattering that little bit more. They're not playing for the seed.
Yeah,
They're playing for the prize money tomorrow, and that's going to change things in a major way.
So the seed's important, right? It helps you out, but in the end, you know, your performance tomorrow, that's what counts. So
if you can't beat Dan or Cam round 1, you're not going to beat them in the grand final.
So, so thank you, everybody, everyone in the crowd. Thank you, all the players. Thank you, everyone online who's been watching. We've had a great time here. We hope you have as well. Make sure you tune in again tomorrow. We will be starting 11 a.m. Lua, congratulations, my friend. We'll be starting 11 a.m. Melbourne, Sydney time. So tune in. Tell everybody. Get everyone in. We want to get this stream. We want everyone to see this. We know in Australia we don't have the best hours for viewership around the world, but hey, let's do what we can. So, thank you, Mick. I've seen you in chat a whole lot. Hope you've had a good time. Dasbok, anything you'd like to say to finish this up for today?
Nothing for me to say. Tune in tomorrow. We'll see you, and looking forward to seeing you.
I'll say one thing quickly before we go. I will just quickly shout out thank you to Fortress for hosting the venue for us. It's an amazing venue. It's been great, and thank you to Artisan as well for supplying the fantastic mouse pads. They are the best you can probably get.
I think the Spire guys would probably argue with you on that.
We'll see. But everyone here has
got an Artisan.
Got an Artisan courtesy of them. So thank you so much to them.
And also, thanks to SyncError for all the help with getting things going today.
Yes, thank you to SyncError too. Yeah, it's been a bit of a hassle getting the server going. So 3 a.m. For EU, is that? Okay, yeah, there you go. So,
Come on, Rob. That's just second coffee time for you, mate.
yeah, exactly.
We both know that.
You're used to that by now, aren't you? No, thank you again. Yeah, stay tuned. We'll be here tomorrow for the rest of the
We
KDC
will be.
Championship.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Ta-ta.